Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number 23CCCR 1656. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Walter Oglesby. Mr. Oglesby, would you please come forward? Mr. Oglesby, your full name is Walter Oglesby? Mr. Oglesby, Walter James Oglesby? J. Oglesby? Okay, Mr. Oglesby, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Oglesby, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Oglesby, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Oglesby? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Oglesby, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Willard Hall. Attorney Hall, how are you doing?
Great.
Mr. Hall, do you waive a record in Mr. Ogleby's case?
He does, you know.
Mr. Oglesby, the state is represented in this case by Attorney Andrew Hubel. Attorney Hubel, how are you doing?
Doing well, judging yourself.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Oglesby, I also have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Walter Oglesby, on or about March 11 of 2023, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Now, state, are you abandoning the enhancement paragraph?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Oglesby, the state is abandoning the enhancement paragraph, and what that means is you will not be charged with a Class A misdemeanor. You will be charged with a lesser offense, a lesser included offense, which is a Class B misdemeanor. Now, to the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, which occurred on or about March 11 of 2023, while you operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Okay, Mr. Oglesby, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature? On the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled Defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
Mr. Oglesby, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Hall, go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Oglesby, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State. I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Hall, you've advised and counseled Mr. Oglesby. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Oglesby, your attorney, Mr. Hall, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation? Mr. Oglesby, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
For plead guilty, the state has offered 15 months deferred probation with a $750 fine, 60 hours community service, the installation of an interlock device, and DWI for stated conditions.
What cost?
92,
How much?
392.
$392. Mr. Ogilvy, the state is offering that you serve 15 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 15-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a DPS fine of $100. You'll be required to pay a fine of $750. You will also be required to pay court costs of $392. You're required to pay a probation fee, $60 each month, a urinalysis fee, $15 each month, and a reimbursement fee of $15. Your total monthly installments, well, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month, is $170 a month. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, are you able to pay the probation fee in this case? Okay. You also, your probation fees is $170 each month. You'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, attend and complete a daily education class, have an alcohol assessment, and you'll be required to adhere to all of the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Oglesby, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not result in conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure, and the court is going to follow this plea bargain agreement. Mr. Oglesby, you're going to stand next to your attorney in front of our in front of our coordinator. Once you finish following her directions and the directions of the bailiff, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Your Honor, you added all these things up. What was the total that came to? Because he might.
$170 a month
How much is the total? He might be able to pay it all today.
Oh, I don't,
Okay.
that will be on the judgment.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you.
You can have a seat right
Yeah.
there. While you get ready for you.
It'll probably some be in what I totaled up was $2,382.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's not including the initial evaluation fee of $125.
Yeah.
Okay. Next case is cause number M331050, case to style the state of Texas versus Demetria Rochelle Hayward. We're gonna have to turn that camera around. Ms. Hayward, your full name is Demetria Rochelle Hayward. How are you doing, Ms. Hayward? You doing okay? That's good. Now, Ms. Hayward, I have before me a motion to dismiss that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. State, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And Ms. Hayward, the state is dismissing this case. I've just signed a dismissal. You'll be able to get a copy of the dismissal in a few minutes from the court coordinator. Just have a seat. Once you get a copy of the motion to dismiss, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yeah.
You can come on back up. Mr. Oglesby, I forgot to ask the question. Do you have a regular driver's license or a commercial driver's license?
Right.
Regular? Okay, because if he had a commercial, he wouldn't be eligible.
Right.
So he is eligible. Okay. You're welcome. is cause number 23 CCCR 436. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Josie Cornell Bobino. Ms. Bobino, your full name is Josie Cornell Bobino?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bobino, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Bobino, do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Bobino, you may put your hand down. How are you, Ms. Bobino?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Your Honor?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. I'm Ms. Bobino. I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yeah.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
And are these your initials on the line that state you'd like to have your case reset to hire your own attorney?
Yes, correct.
Okay, Ms. Bobino, before you signed and initialed this document, did you read the document? Did you understand what you read? And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Bobino, I read your answers. Your case is going to be reset by our court administrator. Please have a seat in that first chair by the wall and wait for her to call it. She can go to the window. You're gonna go to her window, and when she finishes resetting your case, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Please step in front of her. Here you go. Next case is cause number 23CCCR 2350. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Kevin Johnson. Mr. Johnson, your full name is Kevin Christopher Roderick Johnson?
Yes, that is correct.
Right, baby. Hope you learn to get out of here.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Johnson, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Johnson?
Fine, thanks.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking, Mr. Johnson. I have before me two documents. First document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights of Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
It is.
And are these your initials on the line that state you'd like to waive your right to an attorney to represent yourself?
Yes, sir.
I also have another document that's titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Mr. Johnson, before you sign and initial these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes.
Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
It is.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I read your answers. One of the prosecutors will come out and talk to you. You can go back and have a seat.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Next case is cause number 23CCCR 2342. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Andre Garcia Cox. Mr. Cox, would you come? Does he need an interpreter? Okay, just have a seat. Okay, we need to get Jennifer. Okay, just tell him to have a seat. We'll call him up in a few minutes. Next case is cause number 23CCCR 1002. Case is styled the state of Texas versus, let's see, Braxton, Jayla Unique Braxton. Ms. Braxton, your full name is Jayla Unique Braxton?
Yes.
Ms. Braxton, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Braxton, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Braxton, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Braxton?
Fine.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, Ms. Braxton, I have before me two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights of Defendants Without Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Are these your initials on the line that state you'd like to apply for a court-appointed attorney? I have another document that is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant Signature. Is this your signature?
Yeah.
Ms. Braxton, before you sign and initial these documents, did you read the documents? Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Ms. Braxton, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. The attorney that will be appointed to represent you is Attorney Todd LeBlanc. Attorney LeBlanc will be given information to contact you, and you will also be given information to contact him. Our court administrator is going to give you that information. Once she gives you that information, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Please have a seat in the first chair on the wall. Wallace Mac Norbert Jr., cause number 23 CCCR 0970. Mr. Norbert, or Norbert, Mr. Norbert, your full name is Wallace Mac Norbert Jr.? Okay, Mr. Norbert, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Norbert, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? Mr. Norbert, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Norbert? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Norbert, I have before me 2 documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document? Yes, and is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Yes, sir. Are these your initials on the line that state you would like to apply for a court-appointed attorney? Yes. I also have another document that is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant Signature. Is this your signature? Yes. Mr. Norbert, before you sign and initial these documents, did you read the documents? Did you understand what you read? You have to speak up. Yes, sir. And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Now, Mr. Norbert, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney, and the attorney that will be appointed to represent you is Attorney John Macy. Attorney Macy will be given information to contact you, and you will also be given information to contact him. Our court administrator will give you that information. Once she gives you that information, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Please have a seat in that first chair by the wall. Next case is cause number 23 CCCR 1106, case of style of the state of Texas versus Eric M. Sample. Okay. Okay. Hey, Andrew, the folks on Spindletop, they gone?
I believe so.
They are? Okay.
They were back there.
Mhm.
I believe so. They weren't back there.
Okay.
Yeah, they can.
Now, Mr. Sample, your full name is Eric M. Sample? Eric Montreal Sample? Okay. Mr. Sample, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Sample, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Sample? So you woke up? That's a good thing. Yeah, you woke up. You're still in the land of living. You're breathing. You're walking. You got a smile on your face. Yeah, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay. Yeah, it says that's another blessing. Okay. I think we need to just count our blessings. Okay. You might have one thing wrong with you, but you might have 100 different blessings that you're just not even thinking about. Okay. Change your whole frame of mind. All right. So, Mr. Sample, I have before me a couple of documents. First document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Are these your initials on the line that states you'd like to apply for court-appointed attorney? I also have another document before me that's titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defender Signature. Is this your signature? Now, Mr. Sample, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read these documents? And did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay, Mr. Sample, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And the attorney that will be appointed to represent you is Ms. Jennifer DeLedge. Actually, Ms. DeLedge is in court today. She was the lady that was sitting in the chair at the desk. She's right outside in the hall. So she has been appointed to represent you. Okay. The court administrator is going to give you the information to contact Mr. Ledge. Mr. Ledge is going to give you information to contact her. Since she's here in court, she's probably going to give you that information today. Okay. Now, the other thing is before we give you that information, the bailiff is going to hand you a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions. Okay? I'm going to go over these standard bond conditions with you. And it reads as follows. Standard bond conditions in County Court at Law number 2. Following the return of a criminal information in County Court at Law number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bill bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are orders subject to the additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order arrest of any defendant who, A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition? Now, condition number 3 and condition number 4 does not apply. However, condition number 5 does apply on page 2. And condition number 5 states as follows. The defendant is prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition unless defendant is a peace officer as defined by section 1.07 of Texas Penal Code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn full-time paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that condition? Now, Mr. Sample, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, a warrant will be issued for your arrest. And if a warrant is issued for your arrest, you'll be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Now, Mr. Sample, you're going to have a seat in that first chair by the wall and wait for your name to be called. And that's your copy. Sit right there. Okay. Jessica Brown. This is cause number 23CC CR 1640. The case is filed in the state of Texas versus Jessica Elise Brown. Ms. Brown, is that your full name? How are you doing, Ms. Brown? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. Brown, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Brown, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Ms. Brown, would you please, you can put your hand down. Ms. Brown, I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Do you recognize this document? And it's, brother, Just have him have a seat because Ms. Delage is still here.
Okay.
Yeah, just, you can go back and have a seat where you sit. Now, Ms. Brown, is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Or are these your initials on the line that states you'd like to apply for court-appointed attorney? And Ms. Brown, I also have a document that is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature that's titled defendant signature. Is this your signature? Now, Ms. Brown, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Ms. Brown, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And the attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Ryan Matuska. Attorney Matuska will be given information to contact you, and you will be given information to contact Attorney Matuska. Our court coordinator or the court administrator will give you that information. Once you get the information from the court administrator, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Please have a seat in that first chair on the wall. Glenderick Roundtree. All right, how you doing? Miss Mr. Roundtree. Your full name is Glenderick DeQuail Roundtree?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roundtree, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Roundtree, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roundtree, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Roundtree? You doing good?
Yes, sir.
That's good. Now, Mr. Roundtree, I have before me two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
Or these your initials on the line that state you'd like to apply for a court-appointed attorney? On the next document, this document is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant signature. Is this your signature? Now, Mr. Roundtree, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents? Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roundtree. Let me do this here. Let me ask you a question on here. not T lady.
Oh, you know. I thought
Yeah,
somebody-
my mom. So that's your mom. Okay. Oh, well. Sometimes you have to do that. Now, let me do this here, Mr. Roundtree. We made that change. Is everything on this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay, now, Mr. Roundtree, based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for an appointment of a court-appointed attorney. The attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Lori Perazzo. Attorney Perazzo is going to be given information to contact you. You will also be given information to contact her. Our court administrator will give you that information, but before she gives you that information, I need to give you some bond conditions. And the bailiff is going to hand you these bond conditions. So just, here you go, Ms. Bailiff. Okay. Okay, now, Mr. Roundtree, I'm going to go over these bond conditions with you. And it's titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court Act Law Number 2. And it reads as follows. Following return of a criminal information in County Court Act Law Number 2 in Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition? Now, condition number 3 and 4 does not apply. However, condition number 5 on page 2 does apply. And condition number 5 states that the defendant is prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition unless defendant is a peace officer as defined by section 1.07 Penal Code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn, full-time, paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that?
So that means
You can't,
if it's in my name,
I didn't say that.
I was asking.
Now, you have a lawyer that's appointed to represent you. They can give you all the legal advice that you want. Okay, the court is prohibited from giving you any type of legal advice. That question hinges on legal advice, so we can't do that. However, my question to you again is, do you understand this? It says, basically, it says you cannot possess a firearm or ammunition unless you're a peace officer. Okay, as defined by section 1.07 of the Texas Penal Code. Okay, now if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, a warrant will be issued for your arrest, and you'll be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that? Okay. So you're gonna have a seat in that first chair, and when the administrator is ready for you, she's gonna call you to a window. Here you go. That goes with his stuff. Oh, we still waiting on our interpreter? guns. Mr. Garcia, where's his paper? Oh, right here. That's his paperwork. I think he had somebody that speak English that went over.
Buenos días.
Okay. Your full name this is cause number 23CCCR 2342, case of style of state of Texas versus Andre Garcia Cox. Ex Mr. Cox, if that's his full name.
Garcia or Cox?
It's Garcia Cox. Garcia dash Cox.
Garcia.
Well, they have Garcia Cox on here.
Cox también es apellido. It's his last name too, but he doesn't use that.
Okay. Now, Mr. Cox, I guess I assume he speaks some English because he's responding to no English?
No.
Okay. Now, Mr. Garcia Cox doesn't speak English. However, we have Miss Cynthia Renteria, who is an interpreter. Ms. Renteria, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Renteria, do you swear to interpret Spanish to English and English to Spanish to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Now, ask Mr. Cox to raise his hand.
Alza tu mano derecha.
Mr. Cox, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Usted afirma decir toda la verdad, nada más que la verdad, so que lo ayude Dios.
Sí.
Yes.
Yes, you can put your hand down.
Puede bajar su mano.
How are you doing, Mr. Cox?
¿Cómo está?
Good? That's good. Mr. Cox, you have before you a document. The first document is titled no, I already memorized it. Judge's explanation of rights to defendants without attorney. You can show him that document.
Este es el documento de que está hablando.
That's the first document. Ask him if he recognized that document.
¿Reconoce este documento?
Sí.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Cox, that document is in English, and did you have someone who helped you to fill out that document?
Ese documento está en inglés. ¿Tuvo alguien que le ayudara a explicarle ese documento?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Cox, in that document, there's a signature on the line that is titled defendant at the bottom of that document. Is that your signature?
¿Este es su nombre en esa línea?
Sí.
Yes.
There's some initials on the line that state you like to apply for court-appointed attorney. Are those your initials?
Esos son sus iniciales diciendo que quiere aplicar para que la corte le apunte un abogado.
Sí.
Yes. Now, on the next document that is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence, do you recognize that document?
¿Reconoce este otro documento?
Sí.
Yes.
On page 2 of that same document, there's a signature to the top left above the line that is titled Defendant's Signature. Is that your signature?
Defendant's oath.
Defendant's signature. His signature is not right there.
Defendant's oath.
Yeah, where it says defendant's signature, you see a signature on the line?
Este es su firma y su nombre.
Okay, is that, ask him if that's his signature?
Ese es su firma.
Okay, now, Mr. Cox, or Garcia Cox, before you signed and initialed those documents, did you have someone to explain to you those documents in Spanish?
¿Alguien le explicó esos documentos en español?
Sí.
Yes.
And did you understand everything that they explained to you in Spanish?
Sí entendió todo lo que dice esos documentos.
Sí.
Yes.
And is everything in those documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Al llenar esta forma, todo está correcto, acuerdo de usted.
Sí.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Garcia Cox, I've read your answers. Based on your answers in the affidavit of indigence, I don't think you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney.
El juez revisó estos documentos y acuerdo con si califica o no para un abogado no está calificando para un abogado.
Now, at this point, you have two options.
En esto tiene dos opciones.
You can hire your own attorney if you have enough money to hire an attorney,
Usted puede agarrar su propio abogado si tiene suficiente dinero para obtener ese abogado.
or you can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself.
O no tiene que tener un abogado y se puede representar usted mismo.
Do you understand?
¿Sí entiende?
Okay, he can sit down if you want to, you make his
¿Lo
choice.
quiere pensar o ya sabe? ¿Quiere tiempo para agarrar su abogado?
Pues, no va a representar eso.
He wants to represent himself.
Oh, well,
I wouldn't be able to translate that part.
right, no, because in order to represent himself, we don't have someone,
You would have to get a certified translator.
right, to have him to represent us. Now, in order to do that, I can go through the Ferretta. I need to give him a Ferretta warning. Okay, I'll explain that to you.
Yeah, I've never
Okay,
heard.
yeah, because the court has to make the determination as whether or not, he's eligible to represent us. Okay. Now, Mr. Garcia Cox, I need to ask you some questions.
Él le tiene que preguntar unas preguntas para ver si es elegible para que usted mismo se represente.
Okay, first question, have you ever studied law?
La primera pregunta es que si usted ha estudiado ley. No.
Have you ever represented yourself in a criminal action?
¿Se ha representado usted mismo en otra ocasión a un caso criminal?
No.
No.
Do you understand the charges against you?
¿Se entienden los cargos que tiene contra usted? Yes.
Are you aware of the maximum penalty for your charge?
¿Usted sabe la máxima penalidad que carga este cargo contra usted? No.
Okay. Are you familiar with the exact legal elements for your charge?
¿Usted sabe legalmente los elementos de este cargo? No.
Now, do you realize that if you're found guilty, your punishment could be assessed? Let's see, Cox. Your punishment can be assessed from 0 days to a maximum of 365 days in the county jail.
Así sabe que si es encontrado culpable de este cargo, corre el riesgo de servir en la cárcel de 0 días a 365
Actually,
días.
yeah, and you could be given a fine up to $4,000.
Y una fianza que es lo máximo de $4,000.
You could be given both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that?
O también puede correr el riesgo de tener los dos, cárcel y una fianza. ¿Sí sabe de eso?
Now,
No.
okay, he doesn't realize that. Now, do you realize that if you represent yourself, you are on your own?
Sí sabe que si se representa usted mismo, se está representando usted mismo. ¿Sí saben?
Now, do you understand that?
¿Sí entiende eso? El que no va a tener representación de abogado. Yes.
As a judge, I cannot tell you how you should try your case or even advise you as to how to try your case.
Como juez, él no le puede dar recomendaciones a cómo debería de tomar su caso.
Do you understand that?
¿Sí entiende eso? Que él, el juez, no le puede dar sugerencias cómo tomar su caso. Yes.
And I cannot help you in any way.
Y él no le puede ayudar en cualquier forma. Then I have to bring my attorney.
So he wants to get an attorney?
He's asking.
Okay, if he wants to hire an attorney, that's why I asked the questions.
Sí, por eso le pregunto si usted quiere su propio abogado.
Okay, so just tell him to make put his initials on the line and state he would like to hire his own attorney, and then we'll reset his case to give him an opportunity to hire an attorney. It should be the first.
Does he need to fill out another one?
No,
or
no, no, just
that?
scratch through it.
Okay. Le voy a quitar sus iniciales de esta línea.
It should be the first one at the bottom. It was initials on the first line.
Okay, it's the first one.
Right.
Aquí dice que quiere otra fecha de corte para agarrar su propio abogado. Que te ponga sus iniciales en esa línea.
Okay, just tell him to have a seat. Have you reset Rife's case? That gentleman right there, he's sitting there. Somebody must have asked him to come up there and sit there. Right. Just you have a seat in that first chair and tell him, Rella, reset Mr. Garcia first and Cindy has to leave.
Vamos a pasar a who gets this. You.
I get that back. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Le van a dar otra fecha para que se le siente para agarrar su propio abogado. That's my first.
Yes.
It sounds like Andrew has not been able to reach the felony prosecutor yet. So,
Now, is the guy in custody?
no, he's here. Here.
Okay.
But they are suggesting maybe we reset, for a short amount of time so that he has a chance to talk to the felony prosecutor.
Okay. Now he has his felony cases are disposed of. Is that correct? And so we're gonna give him a short reset, excuse me. What about, let me have him to come up.
Come on up.
Let me see. DeAndre Matthews, that's your name? How you doing, Mr. Matthews? Hey, that's good. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Matthews, you're representing your case by your attorney Jennifer DeLodge. And Ms. DeLodge, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
That's good. Now, Mr. Matthews, your case is going to be reset so that the prosecutor can talk to the felony prosecutor who handled your felony case. Okay, and so he's unable to do that today. Now, we're going to reset your case, give you another court date. Are you working?
Not at the moment.
Okay, so we can reset it almost any time. Okay, we want to try to do a short turnaround. How much?
It's
About a week?
yeah, I think a week would be
It would
good.
be fairly quick. He just needs to speak with Luke and Tommy.
Okay, just reset in 1 week. Y'all, you want it on any particular day? It doesn't matter. We can just put him on a,
Maybe it'd be Tuesday next week.
you want to do Tuesday? Okay,
Works for me.
okay, that's fine.
I'm already here, I know that.
Okay, well, that's good.
Take it easy.
Okay, Mr. Matthews, your case is gonna be reset. Give us a reset date. January 30th. Okay, your case reset January 30th, 2024. Your attorney's gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day. Mr. Lodge, you'll be free to go as well. And you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Here, also. Don't have all the information you want.
Here's a clean
Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. And calls number 23CCCR 2350, case is styled the state of Texas versus Kevin Christopher Roderick Johnson. Mr. Johnson, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Johnson, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Johnson, you may put your hand down. Again, Mr. Johnson, how are you doing?
Fine, you.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Johnson, the state is represented in this case by Mrs. Haley Simmons. Ms. Simmons, how are you doing?
I'm good, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Johnson, I have before me two documents. First document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
It is.
And are these your initials on the line that is
Yeah.
titled, well, as state, you want to waive the right to an attorney to represent yourself?
Yeah.
I also have a document that is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of entering a guilty plea proceedings trial. And is this your signature?
It is.
Now, Mr. Johnson, again, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
I did.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Johnson, also, as a defendant in a criminal case, you have a right to have the record of this case. And that's, you have a right to have a court reporter to type down everything that's being said. You also have a right to waive or give up your right to have a court report in this case. Do you waive or give up your right to have a court report?
Don't wait. I mean, it's, they can record it. It's.
Okay, we need to get see if our court reporter is available. Just have a seat. Yeah, you can change it if you want to. You waive it? Okay, so you waive your right to have a court reporter. Now, Mr. Johnson, I also have before me a document that is titled Information Sheet. On this information sheet actually was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. On this information sheet, it alleges that you, Kevin Christopher Roderick Johnson, on or about May 28th of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of racing on the highway. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir. I do.
And to discharge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest. Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
I am.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to contest or fight the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Johnson, I also have another document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, on page 2 of this same document, there are two sets of initials. The first set of initials is the lower paragraph that is titled waivers, and it's next to a line that has a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
I did.
Also on this page below the paragraph that is titled Discovery Admonishment, there's a set of initials next to a statement that reads as follows. I do not request discovery of evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
On the next document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, you understand this document?
Yes, sir.
And, well, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? At the top of this document, there are two boxes checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Johnson, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
You want to read? Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yeah, explain.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
They are.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. Would you like to offer State's Exhibit 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Johnson, the state is offering State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence to be used against you as evidence. State's Exhibit 1 is the document, the first document that we went over on this tablet. This is the same document that have your initials on page 2, 2 locations, and your signature on page 3. The state would like to use this document as evidence. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence in your case?
It is.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. The court will also take judicial notice of the court's file. Mr. Johnson, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Okay, Mr. Johnson, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is the agreement?
In exchange for defendant's plea of no contest, the state's offering a $50 fine with court costs.
What is the court cost in this case? Hold on a minute, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it does that, that's not right, but I mean, who did the plea? You need to get her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
3:30? Okay, so Mr. Johnson, the state is offering that you pay a fine of $500,
50.
excuse me, of $50 plus court costs of $330, which comes to a total of $380. Will you be able to pay the fine and court costs of $380 today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you understand the state's offer?
I do.
Do you think that the state's, there's no additional state fees in there? or anything like that? Okay, so, and do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Very much so.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do.
Mr. Johnson, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Johnson, you're gonna stand,
Just have a seat.
or just have a seat. They're gonna call you back up. Just sign and get your prints. And then once they get your signature and your prints, you're free to go and you have a blessed day. Just have a seat.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, we have a bond forfeiture on Elisa Ashley Jackson was scheduled to be in court this morning for 9 a.m. at or about 9 a.m. The bailiff called the name of Elisa Jackson at the courthouse door. Elisa Jackson did not answer. Elisa Jackson has not appeared in court since the court has been in session. The time now is 12:04 p.m. on today's date. Ms. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Elisa Jackson at the courthouse door? It looks like Alyssa Jackson, Alyssa Ashley Jackson. Alyssa Jackson, name was just called at the courthouse door. Alyssa Jackson did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Ms. Jackson an opportunity to appear in court. She has not appeared in court. State, Do you have a motion?
State moves for bond forfeiture.
That motion will be granted. Alyssa Jackson's bond will be forfeited and warrant shall be issued for arrest and cause number 23 CCCR 2296. And this will conclude the calling of the court's arraignment docket on today's date of January 23rd of 2024. County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding. Everyone, please have a blessed day. You are. And you're excused.